Welcome to Think Differently with Myra Passel. Do you believe that suffering brings on change? We tend to equate suffering as something that's bad. But let me put it to you like this. Think of suffering as pressure or force that is needed or applied to a carbon atom in order to create that precious stone that we call a diamond. You have to have that pressure to create that diamond. Then is suffering such a bad thing? Now, I do recall a time period, or we could call it a season, as some might say, where it seemed like nothing was going my way. I was not even in a good headspace. I was just dealing with a lot. I was going through a change within my life, a whole social dynamic change, relationship change, all right? And I was not in a good place. And probably could have been, labeled or said that I was depressed. Now, I didn't have time to be depressed, but life had me in this place, in this state where I was dealing with a lot. And I was barely making ends meet, and I had two young children that were dependent on me. I was their foundation. I was their support. I was their protection. I had all of that going on, and I was not in a good place. Now, thankfully, I was blessed enough to have a good support system around me. But at the end of the day, when that support system was gone, I had to look at me and I had to deal with me. So I had to dig deep and really search my soul, just really search internally for some strength to get through what I was going through. Because, like I said, I had little ones depending on me. I had to assess my life. I had to do some reflecting. Like, I had to face myself in order to get myself through what I was going through. You start questioning, like, how did I get here? What choices and decisions did I make that caused me to be in this situation? That's a lot of pressure, that is going on around me. And what did I do to cause it? Why me? We have a tendency to ask ourselves, like, why me? Why am I going through this? What did I do to get myself in this situation? But sometimes we don't want to really look at what we did. We said no to this. We said yes to this. We procrastinated on this, or we turned a blind eye to that. That's how we got here. So when we get in those dark places, when you get in those seasons, sometimes it is based on what we did, but it could also just be just our time to have a challenge and struggle where things aren't adding up. It's just our time. And some people might say it's your season. It is a time to be tested. Tested? What do you mean by tested? What's being tested? What's testing? Life is testing you to see, do you have the strength? It's testing your strength. It's testing who you are as a person, testing your character, and quite frankly, maybe even testing your faith. It happens. It happens to all of us. It's unavoidable. So, as you're going through this, understand that suffering brings on change. And let's talk about some of those possible changes that may occur while you're going through that period of suffering. Now, why do we need suffering? Well, you got to have those struggles so that you can appreciate those good times that do eventually happen. And we're going to talk about some of it. When you're suffering, sometimes suffering brings about repentance. Repentance, yeah. Maybe you did something or said something that you regret, that you are remorseful for right now. Maybe you wish you could take it back. You wish you haven't never said it. You wish you had not done that. So it is a time to, that suffering brings about repentance. Suffering can also bring about wisdom. I tend to lean a lot on that one. Wisdom. What am I supposed to learn from this? So when you are going through that time period, And once you learn what it was all about, that information that you're gaining from that experience, man, you take it and you share it. You share it with your community that you have around you so that they don't make the same mistakes. You share it with your children so that they can see how to get through and navigate their own world and navigate some of the things that they're going to have to deal with. Yeah, they're going to go through some things. Your children are going to experience suffering. It's inevitable. But do they have the knowledge? Did you give them the knowledge and the wisdom that they need to understand that it's natural? It's going to happen to them. Share it within your community. Feed people with your wisdom. Suffering can also bring about growth within yourself. There's another side to it. You go through that period, you go through that suffering, but man, when you get on the other side of it, it's awesome because hopefully you've learned something about yourself as a person that you can then share with somebody else. Maybe that suffering makes you stronger. Maybe it even helps you identify an area in your life or your character that just needed a little more attention that maybe you've ignored. Maybe it was a side of yourself where you're too nice. Is that such a thing? You're nice, you compromised, and you found yourself in a situation that kind of got you in trouble. Well, now you know that that's an area of your life that you need to work on, improve, protect yourself. That's a weak area for me. So now that I've gone through that, I need to protect that part of me. I need to nurture that. And if that's the case, you're going to grow. You're going to grow in that area. You're going to learn to set boundaries if you need to, so that you can stop finding yourself suffering and experiencing that same disappointment or consequences all the time, repeatedly. And suffering can also bring about humility. Sometimes we just need to be humbled. Previous generations may say, oh yeah, you're getting a little big for your pants. My generation say, oh, you got the big head now. They feeling themselves. They feeling themselves too much. And you might need to get knocked down a peg or two. It can come in different ways. It could be where something happens to embarrass you. And I mean like embarrass you full scale, you know. It could be something like that. It could be where you think you're better than somebody and the people around you. You're not feeding the people around you. You're thinking you're better than them. So maybe you need to be humble. Or maybe you're thinking, I got it all. I don't need anybody. I got it. That you don't need anybody. Then you find yourself in a situation that causes you to need people. Sometimes we need to be humble. Suffering causes us to be humble. But whatever the case may be, you need to look in, you need to understand where you at. Why are you going through this? Really reflect. Take the time to reflect. Maybe you should have been, listening instead of talking. I don't know, So now that you go through that, there's nothing like redemption. There's nothing like redemption when you get there, because when you get to that redemption, there's nothing like when you see redemption, it's redeemed, it's regained, that knowledge that you've obtained that's helped you grow. Now, let's say you did, you turn your mouth off when you start listening. You gain some information from that. Now, you're going to grow. Now, you have something that you can feed your community and help your community instead of feeling like you are better than those around you. You start feeding your community. You start supporting your community. Redemption is awesome. Suffering can bring about redemption. So when you find yourself in that dark place, don't let it be for nothing. Why did you go through that? Grow from it. Have something to show for it so that you can share and inspire those in your community. Suffering, not always a negative thing. It doesn't feel good, but man, suffering can bring about change. How's it going to change you? This is Think Differently with Myra Passel. Remember, build your community wisely.